Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2019 Ferrari Manager Career Mode here, and today, in this episode, we are in the pre-season phase for Season 2. You join us just after we ended off the Doha GP and won the championship. We've got to go through the formal process of ending the season off, going through that, building our brand new car with, obviously, we've saved up 51 million, plus the prize money, plus also, I believe, the finances for set budget. Yeah, the entire time I had fat stacks set aside, so we have a little bit of money we're going to get from the saving we've done with this, and then we're going to get the prize money on top of that. So we're going to have a lot of money to spend on next year's car, and also at the same time we're going to need a lot of money also potentially to try and break a certain driver out of their contract. I don't know which driver that might be, but I think, you know, after seeing what the comments were saying and seeing what I felt all season as well, I think it's time. We're going to have to replace Leclerc. He's been a great driver for us. He's obviously helped us achieve the Constructors title, but for the sake of keeping things fresh, interesting, and potentially having a bit of a, you know, maybe a bit more a tougher time managing our drivers, I want to try and sign a driver that might challenge Vettel a little bit more, that's hopefully better on tyre wear as well. That was the big thing for Leclerc. He always had the speed, really. It's just the tyre wear wasn't really there, so we're going to go ahead and choose from our kind of list. Obviously, we've got Ricciardo, Verlaine, Verstappen, Perez, and Carlos Sainz. I think the main candidates would really be Verstappen or Ricciardo. We've done Verlaine a lot in Motorsport Manager before, and also Perez and Sainz. Well, they're basically the same as Leclerc almost. I mean, they're a little bit better because they're the full 5 stars, whereas Leclerc is just under 4 stars. But I think we're really looking at Verstappen or Ricciardo. Ricciardo's 4.5 in this game, so he's actually the best candidate out of all of them. But Verstappen is just over 4 stars, and you would think he has the higher potential to go somewhere. Obviously, he's young as well, 22, so it means we can try and lock him into a long contract, and he could be the kind of new man at Ferrari, potentially, if he, you know, really challenges Vettel, you know, basically try and have a bit of a kind of moving of the guard, if you will, at the team. Obviously, it'll take a lot, though, because Vettel's been insane in the last season, but we're going to go ahead and enter some negotiations with them straight away. Just we're going to finish off looking at this pit crew and stuff like that, and just kind of check everything through. We don't need to worry about contracts for most of these guys, I don't think, because they're most of them are going to be 9 race contracts or 8 race contracts, so I don't think I need to worry about that necessarily. Look at any new hires. There's not really anyone that jumps out. It's going to reject all these guys. Don't need to look at them, and we'll go through into popping some offers then for some drivers before we go through the mail, because pre-season comes very quickly, and so we don't want to kind of mess around and wait too long. You know, we don't want these guys to maybe sign brand new contracts with their teams straight away. You know, you can see there the contract ends this next year, so they've got 1 year left on their contract. It's the perfect time to try and swoop in and be like, hey, do you want to sign for us? So let's go forward. I'm going to send out some offers, and we'll come back and we'll cut back in and see where we are. Right, so going through the mail then as we go towards the end of the season, we've got an interview coming off the back of the Doha GP. Congratulations on securing the Formula 1 title. What's the secret? You can't pinpoint it. It's the entire team. I think that's going to be the kind of political answer to go for, really. And there we go. Sebastian Vettel, I am champion, reigning world champion added on. He has plus 40 marketability, plus 50 morale, mechanic relationship, and chairman happiness goes up. It doesn't get much better than that. And yeah, Vettel does win indeed a Doha thriller that if you didn't see, you definitely should. We have only one person's contract running down at the end of the season. Felipe Massa, the reserve driver. So in that case, actually, good note of that. I'm going to go ahead and also try and sign a reserve driver as well. Maybe Mick Schumacher, just for the sake of, you know, in terms of real life, obviously, a Ferrari Academy driver, or Callum Ilott, if we can find him in the game, basically. But the reserve driver's not too important, so I'm going to try and find basically just the cheapest option. We're not going to really use them ever. All right, so we're coming through for the prize money for 2019, receive prize money, and we're going to get a cool 82.3 million for winning the championship. That brings our total budget 133 million. That's awesome. Manager of the season is Frederick Vasseur for Alfa Romeo. Okay. Okay, I feel like our team did pretty damn awesome to get 10 wins in the season. No, Alfa Romeo got 0 wins, 34 points. I mean, their beat has to be fair, and Toros and Williams, I guess, but okay, that's a little bit shortchanged. And then, what? The driver of the season was apparently Leclerc for Ferrari. Okay, the Ferrari car that didn't get a single win in the season is the one that gets driver of the season. Okay then, cool. I think this voting's a little bit fishy, a little bit a little bit corrupt, but okay, FI, okay. And now here we go. 2020 rules are active. So we've got shorter practice sessions, energy recovery system coming in, so that's going to be very important. Pre-distributed tyre compounds, so that's also important as well, and points for the top 8. A lot of changes for this second season. That's actually a lot of changes. You don't understand. The short practice sessions, we get less levels and less knowledge for the race. The tyres, everyone is in the same boat for tyres. So if your car is really too aggressive and you need to use more tyres than you've got allocated for a certain compound, you're screwed. Energy recovery system, we need to always watch out for that. Use that for overtaking, defending, and, you know, basically just throughout the entire race. And obviously, if it's a bad day in the office, it's going to be even worse if you can't recover to the top 8 at least. Obviously, we're Ferrari, though, so we're hoping we're going to be trying to go for wins every single race, but you never know. And so in terms of promotions, there are none. Porsche have not been Porsche are not going to join F1. They're going to stay in Formula 2, and Manor will be staying in Formula 1. So that was obviously Van Dorn and Vern. I believe that might be the mod, because I think the mod doesn't work exactly. There are promotions and demotions, like there obviously was in the base game Motorsport Manager, and like in real life, there's no promotions and demotions, and the same thing, turn down the office. So I think that's part of the mod, really. So I think that's just so it doesn't break the game, basically. So no promotions or anything like that. So obviously that's the major thing that's going to change there, those regulations. So we move forward then pretty much in terms of the calendar towards, well, the contract proposals that we've assigned, and then I guess towards the prize money and building next year's car, because there it is. Event number 1 is on the way, on the horizon, but we've got to first make our car as well and receive our extra savings money, which I'm quite curious to see, because we could have a lot of money here. And what I've just realised here is we've just lost our lead designer. We've just lost him because he left. He didn't have a contract till the end of the season. So I think that's Jock Clear, I think it is, has left us. I don't know where he's gone. Which team has he gone to? Has he gone to one of the teams? No? No? Is he... Wait, was that him? Or was it Resta? Wait, which team was he? No, he's always been in Alfa Romeo. Obviously, he was in Ferrari before. I feel like we should try and snitch and natch him off Alfa Romeo. But that's what's happened there. We've lost our designer that we just had because he had no contract left. But I wasn't told about that. Or I think he retired, potentially. I think that's what's happened. I think our lead designer has just retired. So we need to desperately now find a new lead designer. We've got engineer mechanics. I'm fine with that. The relationship's fine, especially the one with Vettel working very, very well. But we now need to scout a designer very quickly here, and we need to find a good one, to be honest. In terms of breaking contracts, we've got Ian Brown, the man from Porsche. Isn't too bad. I think I signed him. Ian Brown before in a previous career mode, because he's actually a really good option for being this cheap. And he's 38, so he's got a lot of years in him. In terms of the perks he has, I'm not too sure. He only has one for Great, which is Performance plus 40, which is pretty damn good during the race. And then he has a legendary one of -3 for that. And he doesn't have any of these unknown ones, but that's kind of okay. That's kind of acceptable. So going to approach him. He's interested, so let's try and sign if we can. Wage is fairly important to him, so he's got 100k right now. Obviously the highest is 600, so I'm going to try and lowball him at 533. This might be a little bit costly, but we do have a lot of money for it, so I guess this is the new challenge of Season 2 of trying to get this done. We have to apparently pay his buyout clause. That's fine. It's not much of a payout clause. Signing on fee, I'm happy to give you 1.1 million, and bonus size is important, so because of that, I'm going to gushy him up with a bonus of just, you know, the lowest denominator, basically, for first place. But let's try and see if he goes for that, potentially. At the same time, though, I want to also maybe try and just go for someone else, try and pinch them off another team, potentially. In terms of another breakout one is this man, Audi, who works at Audi, again, another LMP1 designer, but we could go for him. He's interested. He's Italian, so that would work quite well as well. Wage is important to him. The highest we have to pay him is 556, so we could get away with 519 there for sure. Medium contract, I'm going to try and get him to do a long one. I don't mind paying it out, but bonus fee, that's fine. I'll pay you 1 million, that's fine. And then again, bonus size for him is important, so we're going to have to try and go a little bit higher on that and go for maybe 60k per race. We'll see how that goes out and see how that works out for him. So sending 2 different offers there for designers. I think we should do a third one just in case as well, potentially. So I'm going to go for... who was at Alfa Romeo? I feel like we should try and nick him because he used to work here at Ferrari, so potentially he might want to come back. Let's try that. So wage is important to him, but hopefully not too high. No, brilliant. Look at this guy. He's cheap. Lovely. Medium contract. I want to go for a high one. I don't mind paying out 1.7. But, oh, that would be quite a high fee to pay then on top of that. And bonus size is important. This guy might be quite expensive for us if we sign him. But, you know, just needs must in terms of having all our options covered here. But, yeah, that's a panic moment. I didn't realise that our lead designer, Jock Clear, I'm sure it was in the game. Yeah, I think he's just retired because I can't find him anywhere in any of the teams. So I think he is literally just retired from F1 because I can't find him in any team, really. As we go through Alfa Romeo, is Resta, Viguer, I can't even say that guy's name. Pat Fry, Allison. I can't even say that guy's name. Green, Newey. Yeah. I think he literally just retired. Right, so now we've got contracts here, and Ricardo wants to go back to the negotiating table. Now, Ricardo, because we didn't gushy him up a door, he's got very demanding on the wage. You can see there, he's not happy with 1 million per race. I pay Leclerc currently for 500k. So, I think Ricardo, I don't think we're in a position to really negotiate Ricardo. I don't want to pay him that much. With Verstappen, we could get away with paying less. So, I'm going to see what Verstappen says, and then we'll move back to Ricardo if we need to. But let's see what Verstappen says. Okay, he wants to renegotiate. That's fine. That's fine. We've got a lot of patience with him, because obviously he wants to drive for us here. He's happy with all of this. So, I could actually move down on the signing on fee, maybe 1 click. And the same thing here, potentially by 1 click. Let's try then wages, important to him. The highest he wants is 1.2. If I pay him, I'm happy to pay him 1 million. I know Ricardo will want to go a lot higher than 1 million. I'm happy to pay him 1 million. That's 500k more than Leclerc per race, but we're getting a driver that should theoretically drive a lot closer to Vettel in this instance. So I'll be happy paying him that much. Let's see what he says for 1 million. We were just at 5, so I've gone quite a few clicks up. Maybe even 979 is a shout. You know what? I'm going to go back to what we had with all of this. Just going to move the wage up a little bit and see. One more patience. See what he says. And we're now into pre-season as the game saves. And this is unfortunate. I do not have my lead designer here with me when we build the car. I don't know if that affects anything. I don't think it does. I hope. But obviously this horrendous lead designer is the one telling me to get on with it. So I hope this doesn't affect things. Right, we saved 20 million here, so we've got 154 million nearly to do. So here we go. We're obviously locked into Ferrari as an engine supplier. We're going to go for, obviously, this one, the higher one. We've got, like, 2 specs, basically, essentially, of this. Obviously, this one's discounted. But fuel supplier, then, what are we going to go for? Right, well, last year, what did we have? We had Shell. We had weak and strong. Obviously, going for Petronas, that's against the brand, really, so I don't think we can go with that. And the same thing with Castrol, maybe, because that's, you know, Castrol's kind of more Renault's kind of thing. I guess Total also is French, kind of. So I think we're going for Shell, Mobil 1, or Repsol here. I think here, honestly, Shell might be the better option. We also get a reduced price for going with Shell again. And the thing is, Shell have such a long-standing agreement with Ferrari. I feel like we should just go for that for the sake of authenticity here. And it's almost, honestly, I think it's the best one. Because, yeah, you can have strong fuel efficiency, and we've got weak here. But if you remember last season, I didn't really struggle that much with fuel. Like, I had to save fuel for sure, but I didn't really struggle with it. And you got to remember, with the ERS, maybe that doesn't come into play as much. So I'm fine with going with Shell again, and it keeps authenticity. Here, for the material supplier, we're going to go for A-Spec again. Obviously, spend the best. We got to, because obviously Mercedes are going to do that as well. Brake supplier, Brembo was very strong, very weak. Instead, we could go for something else. Tyre wear, very weak, very strong for tyre heating. So apparently we had very strong tyre wear. Obviously, that didn't matter to Leclerc. If I go strong and weak here with Magneti Morelli, that is, right, that is 3, nearly just under 4 stars and 3 and a bit for tyre heating. If I go to that, that's just under 3. And that goes to tyre wear of 4 and a bit. So really, yeah, you don't lose too much tyre heating going to very weak here. So again, we might just stay with Brembo. I could also change this round at the end as well. And then battery supplier, we didn't have that. So starting charge, half is efficiency. I'd rather have 40% start efficiency and then have efficiency of 72. I think. Because on the start, you want it. Because we've had horrendous starts. I'd need some charge to make sure they boost away well at the start of each race. Maybe a little bit less harvesting efficiency, but I think all round for us that'll be the better way. And obviously we know Vettel is so good once he gets into the lead. It gets into the lead, so I think we need that. In terms of this, it's not going to aesthetically change the car, but it will change potentially this around. So in terms of improvability, I can actually increase that and decrease the tyre heating. I would probably move it to about 3.5 improvability, so just about there. So decrease tyre heating a little bit there. And then in terms of the tyre wear, I'd rather have more tyre wear than fuel efficiency, and that hardly changes the tyre wear, the fuel efficiency, to be honest. So going to go with that. So a high nose, a low nose actually, and then a higher rear package there, but aesthetically won't change the actual look of the car. But that is our car then. Costs us 63.6 million. That is the exact same as last year, and it is actually... Isn't it the same car? It's basically the same car. Obviously, Ferrari would try and make the best car, so we're going to go for the... It's obviously, we're not like a midfield team trying to level up our budget to try and eventually, go from C-spec to A-spec. We're Ferrari, of course. We're going to have A-spec every single time. We're going to have the suppliers every single time, so... I think, it's not a surprise there. What will change, maybe, is the look of our car a little bit. And obviously, the battery is something we didn't have. But 63 million, and so we have 90 million to spend on upgrades. We are looking amazing in terms of money. We have so much money. Right, staff, Ian Brown, what are you saying? There we go. Ian Brown accepts our offer. So we're going to go ahead and sign him. 7 days. It's a no-brainer. He looks really great. Going to sign him up. Replace him. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. Don't mind paying that. That's a drop in the water for us. So we're going to retract that offer and retract that offer. We don't need you. So we got Ian Brown. Welcome to the team, mate, from Porsche. Now we've got you in Ferrari. Welcome. Looking forward to working with you for sure. But here we go then. Mail. What else are we looking at? Toro Rosso signed Chilton. Cassidy joins Toro Rosso. Scuderia pick up Robert Wickens. Contract signed. New lead designer for us. Here we go. We're over the moon. Yeah, we are. And here we go. Is this it? Yes, this is it. It's happening, people. It's happening. We are going to be signing Max Verstappen, breaking Leclerc's contract, signing Verstappen. It's going to happen. It's a pretty sweet contract. Less than 1 million per race. I'm very happy with that. I'm very, very happy with that. So we're going to sign him. We're going to replace Leclerc. Well, actually, technically, we could just demote Leclerc. I could keep on Leclerc. It could be a very expensive option here, but we could just keep on Leclerc. And I think that's honestly what I'm going to do here. I'm going to do it. I'm going to... Yeah, can I swap them round? Surely I can. Yeah, I'm going to promote Nasser. I'm going to drop Leclerc to reserve driver. I'm now going to sign Verstappen on and replace Nasser. So we're going to break, obviously, with the expenses we have to pay. We have to break Nasser's contract off. We've now got Leclerc as an insane reserve driver. He's 22 as well. I know he won't be too happy, but this also, keeps him away from other teams potentially as well. I don't know. If it gets too expensive, I'll try and cut him loose and try and put him on offer. And so there we go. Welcome, Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen snapped up. And it's a deal that is going to be an eye-popping 15.6 million per year. Ho, ho, ho. Big money. Big money, but that's what you need when you're going for big, big results. Right, some more mail now as we go on through pre-season. Got a dilemma that will come up that will be to do with our car, if you don't know, if you've not watched the game before in terms of pre-season here. So we've got some interesting news about a brake supply. They found quite incredible gains in tyre heating, and they come handy. So we go with 2.5 million. We get +1, and obviously we've got the money for it, so we're going to do that. So yeah, relax, we can afford it for sure. So our car is already going to be in a very good spot there. Already going to go up by one whole one, so we're just under 4 now, and we still have that tyre wear that we did earlier in terms of picking that. So that's a really great dilemma that came up for us. Really lucky that we got that because we sacrificed tyre heating, remember, to get the tyre wear. So excellent. We can get another one like that potentially for maybe the fuel efficiency or improvability. That would be great. But we'll just have to see about that. Still got a little bit of time though, as we're only in January. Still got like about 2 months to go until we actually have to hit the track for pre-season testing. And here we go. Oh, I've got a unique opportunity. Oh, what's this? Renault Sport have been in the news lately after one of their engines caught fire in the garage. The GMA or FIA calling their work practices unsafe. We have opportunity to marketing materials to exploit the mishap and Show we have superior working conditions. Chairman might not like it, blah, blah, blah. Let's do this, plus 25. Chairman down, no impacts. I would say no impacts. I don't, I'm not in the business of smearing other teams. We'll go with it could happen to anyone, and we'll just leave it at that, really. So we'll move forward then. I'm still hoping that we get a kind of dilemma that will come up, basically, because we're now ending January, so we could get one in Feb just before we have to actually do preseason testing. That would be great, but we'll see. I just have to kind of sit here and wait. Will there be any email? No, doesn't look like it. We just reached a brand new month. And on that note, actually, let's have a look then at the teams, and let's see if anyone's moved teams around, because I think I've already spotted a few people that might have moved teams here and there, so let's have a look. So at Alfa Romeo, we've still got Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi at the helm there. We moved to Alpine Racing. That did have Fernando Alonso, but it's now Lima in there alongside Massa and Markelov. So, interesting. I would have thought maybe they would have put Markelov in the actual driving seat, though, as he's a bit younger, maybe got more potential. But Alonso's left Alpine Racing. So, could he have gone to maybe even one of the top teams? Let's see. As we go to Haas now, Hartley and Magnussen. So, they've got rid of Grosjean then. So, where did Grosjean go? That's another question mark. So, Hartley, Magnussen pairing. Okay, interesting. Got McLaren with Nico Hulkenberg now and Lando Norris. So, no longer is the bromance of Norris and Sainz there at McLaren. So, Sainz is gone. So, quite a few drivers are moving here. Really cool to see in Season 2. So, Hulkenberg's gone. Lando Norris there alongside him. Obviously, just stick through. And they've got Seta Camara as a, okay, reserve driver, I guess. They've got Seidel at the helm and Pat Fry, good designer there. But where did actually they finished? They finished 4th last season. Okay, fair enough. We'll see if they could ever kind of catch up to top 3 teams. I don't think I've really ever seen an AI team in the midfield catch up to the top runners ever kind of naturally, which is a bit of a shame. But we move on. Mercedes, we've got... Oh! Mercedes, we've got Lewis Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo in the racing seat. So Ricciardo didn't sign for us. He signed for Mercedes. So I guess, I don't know, he kind of, we kind of binned him off from Verstappen, and he thought, okay, I'll take my services elsewhere, and he signed for Mercedes. So they've got a very, very strong lineup there with both those drivers, because Bottas did obviously win a few races for Mercedes, I think 2 or 3. I think he did a pretty decent job actually last season for Mercedes. But Ricciardo, that's a big signing. Obviously, we were going to go for him, so that's a big signing there for Mercedes. Porsche then have Lotra, Ericsson, and Maney as reserve driver. Then you've got Racing Point with Stroll and Perez. No change there for them. Then you've got Red Bull, and Red Bull have Alonso and Gasly. That is very interesting. Fernando Alonso in the driving seat for Red Bull Racing. That is a very interesting one. That is going to be big, because Verstappen in the Red Bull was, he got 2 poles at the end of the last season. Alonso in that Red Bull. This could be very, very tasty if Red Bull upgrade their car enough into next year. And then at Renault, you've got Valtteri Bottas and Carlos Sainz all change at Renault then. So Bottas swaps places with Ricciardo effectively, and Carlos Sainz boots out, I think it would have been, well, it would have been Hulkenberg, I think. And so they've got to go into each other's team. So all change there at Renault then, fair play. And then we get to obviously us, which is Vettel and Verstappen and Leclerc. A very, very strong lineup of drivers. If one of them gets injured, we've got Leclerc there. And then we've also got Toro Rosso with Chilton Cassidy. I think that's the last one. Williams, Russell and Ocon. Kubica was actually at Mercedes now as a reserve driver. So Russell and Ocon now. And then that is Formula 2 then. So decent little change up in lineups. Very interesting. All right, so we move forward into February. We're getting towards the preseason, and it looks like we won't have any more, unfortunately, dilemmas that come up for us to maybe get added on performance for us. So we've got a budding musician perk for Verstappen, so we get +10 marketability. Okay, decent. And here we go now. It's time to design the livery, which is always quite interesting. Obviously, Ferrari being Ferrari, it's just red, really. But, I don't know. I'll try and see if I can do any sort of thing that's different, so maybe spice it up a little bit. Okay, I think we've got our car. I think this looks pretty damn mean. Ignore the 77, but basically this is the workshop skin for the Mercedes. Actually, you can see there with the little kind of Mercedes logos, but they kind of just look like dots from this far out. And it gives the car a very cool edge. The black uprights, the kind of black floor, the bottom, the barge walls all in black, and you've got the black line going across from the front all the way to the back, and a streak of red, a bit of a darker tinge on the red on either side of the front wing and the rear wing. I think that looks like a pretty mean Ferrari car, especially from this angle, in that light. Looks pretty sweet. So ignore the 77, but this is our brand new Ferrari for 2020. I think it could be a very tasty year with Sebastian Vettel and Verstappen. But now it's time to go towards pre-season testing. We've finished editing the livery. It's pre-season testing time, as we're nearly there, 84% done. It's time to test the car hopefully nothing's going to break. So here we go then. Pre-season testing time very, very soon. We've got introduction to the energy recovery system. Yes, I've got it. So power mode, activating this is obviously a booster, and then we can save it, and then that's, I think, the kind of in-between, essentially. So here we go. Pre-season testing time. Start testing. Hopefully both drivers end up pretty happy. Obviously, Vettel starting with high morale. Verstappen not so much, but we can hopefully get that to higher morale. No issues for Verstappen. Bit of understeer for Sebastian Vettel, which is a bit annoying. Ricciardo looks quick in that Mercedes there, and Alonso in the Red Bull, surprise, surprise, and even Bottas in the Renault there. As we finish that, it's a change of 0 for Vettel in terms of morale, +8 for Verstappen. He's obviously beaten Vettel straight away, so that's actually, you know, very good for us. Obviously, this is going to be, I can already tell, this is going to be quite an issue managing these two as equally as I can, and I think they're going to come together quite a lot in terms of how close they maybe are out on track. But it's going to be a fun one, especially with Ricciardo in Mercedes and Alonso in Red Bull, and even Bottas in Renault looks pretty good actually. And Hamilton is actually, where on earth is he? Is he even driving? No, he's not. Kubica got put in place of Hamilton. Hamilton didn't want to do pre-season testing, apparently. So on that note then, I am going to leave it here. That is pre-season testing done. We've got our brand new car. We've got our new driver lineup. And all there's left to do is build up to the Australian Grand Prix, which I'll leave for the start of next episode, guys. And all that learning curve with the tyres and the ERS and checking it out, we'll leave that till the first part of the first episode of Season 2. So guys, if you did enjoy this kind of middle episode with the pre-season and all the stuff we've done with the transfers of Verstappen, getting our new car, then be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Are you looking forward to Season 2? Because I very much am with this lineup we've got going on here. And yeah, if you're new around here, do subscribe for more weekly follow-on content. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoyed today. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.